So, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This morning, we are being reminded to put our feet down. It may feel like we're out in the deep end, but put our feet down. What happens when we do that? We recognize that, hey, I can get through this, is what it feels like. That's what it feels like when we are reminded. It may look like we are in the thick of things, in that deep end of the pool, but you will hear that still small voice telling you, stand up, put your feet down. And then you'll realize the water is not as deep or tumultuous as you thought it was in the beginning. What causes that to happen? Knowledge. The knowledge of the security of the bottom, where you can put your feet. When you put your feet down, there's security there. What are you standing on? Back in the day, scripture would say, this is the rock upon which I build my church. When you have solid ground beneath you, that is what the law does for us. The law gives us a firm foundation on which to stand and build. Again, scripture will tell you the wise man built his house upon the rock. So when the waves of the world came, he was not washed away. The law allows us to stand on solid, solid ground. What is that solid ground? What is it? It means when you're going through a situation, the knowledge of the law sheds light upon what you are going through so that you can put it into perspective and go through it instead of being overwhelmed by it. Because sometimes that overwhelm will blind the eye and you will feel like you're out in the deep end with no support. But when the law says to you, hey, I got you. Just put your feet down. Just stand up. I got you. Which means you know that you can create a situation. If we're like we're at this morning, we need comfort in a situation. Be comforted to know that the all is in all of us. Whether we are in the third dimension, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc., you are in the presence of the all. There's no greater place than that. There's no greater place than being in the presence of the all. We are all in the presence of the all. That is the comfort that we get. Of course, we think sometimes we can't see that comfort. But remember, the law always, the law of rhythm. There is an ebb and there is a flow, never stillness. So whichever part you are in, whether you are in the ebb, if you are in the ebb, this is where you gather your strength. This is where you fortify the self. This is where you remind the self of what it is capable of and how it is looked after, how it is cared for by way of law. That's what we do in the ebb. We comfort ourselves in the ebb. We send comfort to others in the ebb. Because when we begin to flow again, things make much more sense. Right? This is why polarity always calls us to recognize where we are in this present moment. Where are we in this present moment? And sometimes when you tell polarity where you are, there's that moment in between when you're deciding, okay, here's where I am and here's where I want to be. See that moment in there? That is the ebb. The ebb has its purpose. And if we don't go through the ebb, we miss out on what it holds. We must go through it. Through is the key word. There's always an action required. Always. If going through it means we cry, then we cry. But the action is required. This is where unconditional love now comes in. As Yolanda mentioned, remember the good. Remember the good things. Remember the things that made you laugh in your interactions. Remember that. Because when you remember it, you begin to see that you're not at a loss. You're not at a loss. You're at a different phase, but not a loss. Because you're not looking back at what you lost. You're looking back at what you cherish. What you cherish. And it is in that cherishing that we move through it. It is in the appreciation that we move through it. Right? That's what the law affords for us when we use it. That's what it affords us to do, to see the big picture, to come out from under the umbrella of overwhelm. Right? It always tells us to use the facts instead of the feelings. It's not saying the feelings aren't valid. Use the facts, and the facts will get you through the feelings. This is what the law affords for us to do. It is a comfort, the law. It is a comfort. Right? So wherever you are this morning, whatever platform you're on this morning, know that sometimes this will happen. It always will. But we get to be reinforced to say, oh, I understand. Just a little bit, but I understand. And it is in that understanding that we ease ourselves. We comfort ourselves in that understanding. We're never alone. Never. My beautiful friends this morning, we are never alone. Fan base, this one is for you especially this morning. Here's an exercise we're going to do. Wherever you are at this time, if you're in a safe space, meaning you're not driving, because you might not be able to close your eyes if you're driving, right? So if you are in a place where you can just take a moment, take 3 nice deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the nose, 3 times in between. Just spend a moment and do that. Everybody else can do it too, but specifically fan base. Just those nice 3 deep breaths. Now, bring her to the forefront of your mind. You don't even have to say her name as long as you think it. She has your attention. And we're going to do our Care Bear stare. What is that? A simple sensation of I love you. I appreciate you. So let's do it now. When you think of her, send that outward. I love you. I appreciate you. That's it. Just simply send that love and appreciation. There. It doesn't matter how many times you have to do that today. Just do it. If you feel inclined to do it, do it. However many times you want to do it in the day. Because what you're doing by way of law, when you think of someone you care for, as soon as you say their name or you think about them, it's like the phone rings. You know this as well as I do. Oh my God, I was thinking about you and you called me. It is still happening. So when you do that and you project, you know what? I love you and I appreciate you. And just let it float on the energetic wind, if you will, because it travels and it will get to its destination. It'll get to its destination. Let's take a brief moment now to welcome everyone to the space this morning. Ah, Lilith, darling, and Meep, I see you both here on Twitter. I see you both. Welcome. I do love you. Fan base, we've got Summer Rose, Oracle Treehouse, Miss McQueen, Flo Smiles, Jamaica KZ, Mai, Melanin, Yolanda, Zola. We have you all here. Who do we have on YouTube today? We have Ty's Tidbits, David, Cyber, and the others who've not made themselves known. I see you all, especially the replay gang. I see you all. I don't know who's on Facebook, but I know you're there. I see you. Remember this morning that when we are dealing with a state of overwhelm, if we take a moment to listen to that still small voice that speaks to us, it always speaks. Even when you are in the thick of it, it always speaks to you. Because you'll feel it. And it will say to you, that still small voice, put your feet down. That's what it will tell you. All around you seems tumultuous. But the still small voice says, put your feet down, stand up. You know, like you're out in the pool and you think you're in the deep end, but you stand up and you're like, oh snap. Water's not even fully past my waist yet. When you put things into perspective, the overwhelm abates because now you can see clearly. That was our Bible story the other night on Monday night when Jesus was in the boat. And he's in there with the disciples and the boat's being tossed to and fro. Now, Jesus is fast asleep and the boat is being tossed to and fro. And they're freaking out. until somebody says, oh, I got to wake Jesus up. He's got to fix this. They wake up Jesus and he's like, oh, how long have you been with me? Have you not been learning anything? And he looks out onto the ocean and he says, be still. And just like that, the wind stops, the water stops, and it's like, it's calm again. That's the put your feet down, stand up. That's what that means. Always the law is before us. Always the law is before us. This is what causes us to stand. This is what buoys us, you know. It's what it's called out in the ocean. When Yeah, it's a buoy. I don't know how everybody else says it, but that's what it is. It keeps you afloat. Your life preserver, you know? This is what we are afforded by way of law. Right? By way of law, we are afforded that. It is a beautiful morning. It is a beautiful morning. You see, remember how the body works, and it will get you through any situation. When you recall a memory, you relive it, right? Because you feel the same way you did when the thing happened. So when you recall a memory or you recall someone, the thing that left the most powerful impression is what comes to mind when you think of that person. Somehow we always end up here, don't we? Fan base, you know of what I speak. The minute you recall that memory, you relive it. You're back in that vibration again. And as I say, the minute you are back in it, you are projecting. This is why Neville Goddard says, also scripture, whatever is good, whatever is true, honest report, think on those things. Because when you think about those things, you project them. You project it. You cannot see what you are projecting. If we could see what we were projecting, we'd be a lot more cautious in our projections. So when you recall that memory, you are projecting it outward. And when you are projecting it outward, your words do not return unto you void. They get to their intended target. That's why when we go through this time, fan base, when we go through this time and we think fondly of our Miss Ravioli, I always sang her name. When you think about her, I have to smile now, I'll say that. I have to say that because it is true. I only have fondness when I think of her, and that's what I project. That's what we do. Because we don't know what those light waves that we project outward are doing for her this morning. We don't know. Just like Daniel did not know that the angel he called upon was intercepted. All he did was do what? He projected his need forward. He projected it forward. And somehow it was intercepted. But the angel did get to him and say, I set out for you as soon as you called. And I say that to say this. We only just found out But now that we know, whatever it is that we are projecting outwards towards her, we may not see it, but be sure that it is getting to her, and we don't know how it's helping. That's why it's important that whatever is good, whatever is true, whatever is honest and of good report, think on those things, because they have an effect. And as I say, we cannot see beyond this dimension. We can't, but we feel. And because we feel, that means it's being projected. Something is being projected. Then it must take root wherever it goes. And I can tell you this morning, the amount of love that is coming from this space going towards our beautiful sister. Oh, she's feeling it. She is feeling it. It is law. I don't have to hope that she does. It is law. She is. This is why the law comforts. When you put it into factual perspective, as opposed to speculation. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what happens afterwards. We do know what happens now. There is only now. We think there's an after, but there is only now. And we are all in the now, whether the third dimension or not. We're all in the now. So even though it might feel overwhelming, even though you might feel lost, know that you are totally secure and safe. You're not lost. The law is a light. You're not in the darkness. You'll always find your way in the light. So you can't be lost. And so when you do that, when you know how the law works and you remember how to apply it, you can move through any situation that appears to be tumultuous. You can stand up and have the water be waist high, whereas before, when you didn't think you had support, the water was up to your neck and you're slipping under. But the still small voice says, stand up. Put your feet down. Don't make me sing ludicrous this morning. I trust that makes sense. I see you, Empress Ella, Beauty Queen Onika, I see you. Her Excellency, I see you as well. I trust that makes sense for us this morning. I trust that it does. I trust that it does. We have the power to influence many a dimension. How do you know? Walk into a room and something just doesn't feel right. You don't know what it is, but you can sense. That is beyond the third dimension. It's invisible to the naked eye, so you can't see it. It's not in the third dimension. So it is somewhere. And the reason why you know it is somewhere, because you can sense it. You can feel it. So if you can sense it and feel it there, in a crowded room, you don't know these people. Well, then think about the effect it has that you cannot see. But if you intend, as you project your feeling outward, for goodness and mercy and love, then that is the only outcome. That's how you know that your projections are always working, whether you can see them or not, because you can sense things. You can. But we take the time This is why meditation is important. We take the time to sit in that still, quiet place. That's what we do. That's what we do. And then you begin to learn you, so that when you feel something else, you'll say to yourself, okay, that's not me, so what is it? Because you'll know what yourself feels like the more you practice your meditation and stillness. It is a most beautiful thing that we have been given the Comforter. That is also scripture. If I don't go, then the Comforter can't come. That's what it says. But the law is a comfort. The law is a comfort. Whatever you need it to be, the law is it for you. You determine what it will be for you. Why? As within you. The law always meets you right where you are. How does it know? You. You tell it. This is why you get what you are. Be comforted today to know we have a sure and solid foundation beneath our feet. And let us stand upon it, even though things on the outside appear to be tumultuous. You don't know where money's coming from. You don't know where this is coming from. You don't know where that is coming from. But what do you know? When you hold or polarize yourself with what you know, you put your feet down. You stand up. That's what we do. That's what we're encouraged to do by way of law. That's what we are always encouraged to do. Name the facts. What do you know? Because once you know that, you can create the outcome you're looking for. Because you'll know there's no need to be overwhelmed. What is it that you want? What is it that you're looking to create right now? It's what the law will always say. So be encouraged today, my beautiful friends. Be encouraged today to know that, I wanted to say, are you in good hands? We know that we are. We are in the most phenomenal hands there are. We are in the hands of the law. We are in the bosom of the law, if you will. And when you know that, for fact, you move a little different. You speak a little different. You think differently when you know you are in the bosom of the law. What does Scripture tell you? Scripture says, even the sparrows, they're looked after. Every hair on your head is counted. You're looked after also. That's what Scripture says. How do you know it to be true, though? You hear the birds singing in the morning. Are they not provided for? Indeed they are. You can't see how they possibly do it all day, every day, but they do it. Right? Every one of us is looked after. And you can see it when you go outside by way of law. You'll hear the birds. We have little chickadees. You can hear them in the backyard all the time. Same song they sing. They're looked after. You know it as well as I. Well, if they are looked after, so are you, so am I. So is everybody else that we don't see. That is how we can take comfort. That is how we can stand up. That is how we can just lean on the law. Allow yourselves to be reassured. Allow yourselves to be comforted by that. Oh, but Angela, you don't know quite what I'm struggling with today, Angela. No, I don't know, but I know the law. That's what I'm saying to you this morning. Whatever your situation is, what does the law say about it? Not what you may feel about the situation. What does the law say about your situation? That's why you can put your feet down and stand on solid ground. That hymn comes to mind. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. That hymn. The law is the only solid rock we've got. I tell you that because you know it is daytime. It is law. By the time noon comes around, oh my God, the time just flew by. That's because everything moves, everything vibrates. Do you not see the law before you? You walk by anybody's garden, you knew what they planted. So when I tell you today that you are standing on solid ground, regardless of how you think you may feel about a particular situation, regardless of if you're worried about money, worried about friendships, it doesn't matter what the circumstances may be, the law can get us through any situation because all situations bend to the law. Gee whiz, I know some of these things can be very, very challenging. I know. But the saying comes to mind, where there is a will, there is a way. Let me explain. What is the will? Your intent. Your will is the intent. What are you intending to create? Create it, and there is the way that has been made where there was no way. You looked out there and you said, I cannot. But then you remembered the law and you said, oh, I can create. And because you can create any solution required, a way is always made because you will it to be so. You will it. You intend it. You create it to be the way you want it to be. So a way must always be made. So what is your will this morning? What is your will? What is it that you are intending? Then you follow through with your intention. And the way, just like an elephant, a way is always made. You can always tell their path that they took. They make a way. That's what we do. That is the security that the law provides. You see, it's the security that we're all looking for. We put different names on the security, but it is security that we are looking for. The security is there already. You are already secure. You just need to see it for yourself. That's why you have to stand. That's why you have to put your feet down on that solid ground. Because then you will know, oh snap, I can stand. It's only waist high. I can tell you that all I want. It's waist high. Come on, trust me. No, you have to trust your experience when you put your feet down. That is what we're doing. So today, I trust this short lesson made some sense for us today. I trust that it makes sense for us and that we trust in the law. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, causation, and gender. Those 7 principles guide all of us, seen and unseen, heard and unheard, known, unknown. We are well looked after. We are well cared for. So let us revitalize ourselves in that knowledge. Revitalize yourself in that knowledge that you are well cared for. You stand on solid ground. Not solid by way of man, solid by way of law. Just like Neville said. Then he said he saw the other place that we end up. He said he saw it. Just vibrations. This is what it is. Vibrations are what separate us. The frequencies. That's why some things are unseen. It doesn't mean they're not there. It just means we're not on the same vibration. Right? I love you this morning. I do. Oh, Jeff, hello. I just looked and I saw you. Hi. So today I trust, because we are dealing with a loss this morning in our fan base family. And that's why things feel a little heavy this morning. But this is why the law says, I've got you. I've got you. Our beautiful Miss Ravioli is in the bosom of the all. And so her work is not done. She's got things to do. So when we think of her, just as when you think of anyone, this is why we are encouraged to whatever is good, whatever is true, whatever is honest, think on these things. The reason why we are told that is because when you think of someone, however it is you're thinking of them, you are sending that frequency to them. So let us help our beautiful sister along this morning by thinking the best of her, the highest of her. You know, those memories when she made us laugh. Think on those things because they will help her. You know, we're so quick to say, I'm sending you love and light. but yet we don't truly grasp that that's exactly what we do, or we can send something else, depending on how you think of the person. That's why we're always encouraged to think the highest, not just of ourselves, but of others. We can uplift her this morning wherever she is along her journey. And because we don't see how we can uplift her, by way of the law of vibration, you can be sure. If you send uplifting, she is uplifted. The law of vibration tells you that. Because as I said, you can walk into any room and feel something. You either will feel good in your body, or the hairs on the back of your neck and your arms will stand up. You can't see it. You don't know what it is, but there's a vibration that has influenced you. So if a vibration influences you here, where you can see, then by way of law, a vibration can influence anyone on any vibrational plane. How do you know? The law of correspondence tells you, as above, so below, as within, so without. So it doesn't just happen here. That's how you know that you are influencing our beautiful sister today. That's how you know. That's how you know, by way of law. So, I trust that makes sense today. You know that I love you. You also know where you can find me again to catch the last remnants of gravy from the bowl. Go through this phase because we must, because nothing stands still. Everything moves. We must go through it. We must go through. Countdown initiated. 5, 4. Meep, Jeff, Her Excellency Lilith. Thank you all for being here in the Twitter sphere. You know I love you. Enjoy the weekend. And you know that you are loved and appreciated. I love you, Twitter. Much love. Twitter is closed. Fanbase? Let us move through this day and this time ahead of us with the knowledge and the security that we are upheld by law. We move and have our being in the law. Let us know that. And in the famous words of the gladiator, what we do in life echoes in eternity. What you do now. So just remember that. Remember that. I love you, fanbase. Zell, Joyce, Summer Rose, Oracle Treehouse, Miss McQueen, Flo Smiles, Jamea Mai, Melanin, Yolanda, Zola, and last but certainly not least, Miss Ravioli. With all of our love, our dearest Miss Ravioli, you are well loved, appreciated, and looked after. Thank you all for being here this morning. I love you all. Much love, fanbase. Fanbase is closed. I'm not quite sure, Empress Ella, what happened other than Miss Ravioli, who always used to be in our space. You know, she had the eye in her avatar. She has transitioned. Yes. So we're just finding out about it now, but she transitioned on the 9th of April, and we're just finding out about it right now. And so, um, yes, that's what we know. And so we've all had our interactions, you know, and so that's what we were. And it just so happens that the message today was to put your feet down. You know, if you're in the pool and or if you went to the beach, you know, and you feel like, oh, I can't see the bottom. But then somebody says, ah, stand up, put your feet down. And the water's not even waist deep. Yeah, yeah. So the message was fitting this morning. Aw, Yolanda, well, you're welcome. You know, because that's the thing. We're not always taught, right? We were taught one way, but by way of law, everything, everything is in its place. A not? I see you, darling, I see you, right? So this is why we go with the perspective of the law at all times, because it puts things into perspective, you know? And so it encourages us and inspires us to move forward because we're in the ebb, you know, the flow is coming. When you're in the flow, you know, the ebb is coming, right? A constant state of motion. It's a nice, beautiful motion, actually, like the undulation of the ocean, the way the waves move. Pardon me. But yes, I trust that things made sense today and that we are encouraged to be our best selves and to love, you know? Yes, Empressella, it is very sobering, you know, because we tend to be afraid of the unknown. Mm? Yeah, we tend to be afraid, but we fear not, right? We've been taught to fear, really and truly, but the law brings one courage. The law always brings courage. And here's the thing, right? Even if you don't believe me, I don't want you to believe me. The law does not want you to believe it. It wants you to know it. That's why it's in your face all the time. Because it wants to be known. When you know a thing, that's where you live from, you know? And the law is always calling us to know it, you know, just to know it. Hmm. It is. It puts things into perspective again, and Priscilla, because that's why I say facts over feelings. Sometimes we get annoyed because we are human, we're living, right? These experiences. Sometimes we get annoyed. Sometimes we get overwhelmed. Sometimes things happen. Things happen. But if we always lean to the law first, you'll find that there really isn't anywhere else. There's nothing as secure, nothing as sturdy, nothing as trustworthy or as reliable as the law. And when you come to know that, when you come to know that, How do you know nothing is as reliable as the law? What season are we in right now? We're into spring. We're a couple weeks into spring. How do you know? Because it comes the same time every year. And you know exactly what comes after spring. You know what comes after summer. You know what comes after fall. How do you know? The law of rhythm. It is reliable. You know what's coming. You can predict what's coming. So the law does not end in your garden, it does not end at your seasons, but it encompasses life itself. Without the law, things cease to be. Without the law, things cease to be. If we didn't have seasons, right? Things become because of the law. That's what I wanted to tell you today. So indeed, Empress Ella, it is a sobering message. Keyword sober. Um, Cyber had asked me a question. I glanced and I saw the question, Cyber. Yes, I have seen it. I I think explanations could have gone deeper, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I own it. I bought it, Cyber. So yes. Um, yeah. I see you, the better man. Ah, now when you say shy, I didn't see shea butter this morning, right? I trust that we understood today's message and that we are lightened by today's message. It does not take away the feeling or the sensation of the loss of a friend, but it puts things into perspective for us to know that our friend is not gone. That's what it does for us, right? And I will leave you with that this morning. It is Friday. Let us, let us be today. Let us be today. Let us be. Mm, let us be. Be your best. You must. I love you all. And you know, if you've got questions or you want something expanded upon by way of law, you know, just pop into the link tree. There's a little email icon there. You can email me, or if you follow me on any other platforms, they're all in my link tree. Just click on them and you can slide into my DMs. You know that you can ask questions. And we'll answer by way of law. Right? You know where you can find me. Let us go forth today and love. Be it. Be the change you want to see in the world. What does that sound like? The law of correspondence. As within, so without. Be the change. You have to be it so you can experience it on the outside. So be the change you want to see. Be the love. Parting truly is such sweet sorrow. But we're never far away. Say my name and I'm there. the law, and there it is. And you see it, and you use it. That's what that means. We're never separated. We can't be separated. But that is learned. The law teaches us that. We're all one. Right? I love you all. Enjoy the beautiful weekend. Enjoy it. Much love, my beautiful friends. Much, much, much love.